Have you ever found yourself doing a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku or something like that and telling yourself you're doing something good for your brain? We've all done it, right? I'm Dr. Jeff Cumrow, and ultimately I help people improve their brain and body function to better handle stress and avoid the diseases that are associated with stress. And ultimately today what I want to talk about is how crossword puzzles or Sudoku or things like that really aren't a full spectrum of brain training and why we need more, what you can do to actually take that to the next level. So, you know, like I said, we've all done this where we sit down and we work on some sort of a puzzle and we tell ourselves that we're training our brain. We've been taught that that is something that can keep us sharp as we age, that can keep us sharp, as we're working on building all of us ourselves up, right? And there is some level of truth to that, but there's a big thing that's holding us back. So ultimately, what I want you to imagine right now is going in and putting in a weightlifting workout. What do you do on a weightlifting workout? You've got a variety of different things, right? You might do squats, you might do lunges, you might do deadlifts, you might, do some bench press or some pull-ups or, some shoulder presses or different things like that. But you don't just go in there and just do bicep curls every day, right? Why? It's because it's not really a full spectrum of exercise, right? Really, when we look at exercise, weightlifting is a small part of it too. You could do walking or running or play basketball or football or go and swim. I mean, there's a million different types of exercise. So when we're looking at all of this in the scope of everything else, it's really, really just a small portion of all of that. And crosswords are the same way. Crosswords are great. They make us think of what the answer is. They make us think about, what's going to fit into that box, and they build some set of skills. But the brain is a really, really, it's such a cool, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful things that's ever been created, right? We've got so much functionality and so much complexity that researchers really don't understand all of the function, right? So it's really a cool thing because it's so diverse. And when we just sit down and do crosswords or we just sit down and we do Sudoku, it's great. It helps us, but it doesn't help us in the broad spectrum of things that are actually going to move us forward in life, right? Because we've got a reaction time and we've got our memory and we've got, being able to calm things down. We've got, complex decision making. We've got math, we've got reading, we've got sight and sound and smell and all of these different things that are all processed by our brain. So when we sit down and we just do one thing, it's like going to the gym and just doing, bicep curls and saying you got in a full body workout. It doesn't really work that way, right? So I'm not telling you not to do crossword puzzles because crossword puzzles are great. I'm not telling you not to do Sudoku because that's fine. Those are good things. But we need to have some diversity in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And ultimately in our office, what we use, so we go a step further, obviously. When we're working with people, we want to see where their function currently is. So we take them through some testing. We might use some computer testing. We might do some testing that's more just functionally based. Can you do this? Can you not do this? How good are you to be able to do this? We like to compare them against normalized databases because that gives us a good idea of not only where you're starting out, but are you making progress as we go forward through there. So, we take it a step further with that. But when we look at neurological function, it's a lot like exercise. You can improve that function with proper stimulation, right? So if you go in and you're weak on your bicep curls, by doing bicep curls, you start to get stronger. Same thing goes for the brain. If you have a weakness in some area, in many cases you can get stronger by doing that thing. Now, it doesn't always work just straight ahead like this. A lot of times we'll have to come at this in a different way. So if you struggle with reading, reading more doesn't necessarily make you better at reading. But working on some of the skills that underlie reading can make you better at that. So it's not as straightforward and easy as just doing things you're not good at. It has to be more complex than that. We have to use the other skills to build on that. But ultimately, that's what we're doing is we're finding the areas that are not working as well. We're working to stimulate them, working to build them up. And when we do that, you have better overall function. What can you use that overall function for? You might have better stress handling from it. You might have better sleep because of it. You might have better memory. You might have better decision making. You might have better immune function. There are a lot of different ways that we can go about this, and a lot of different faculties that are used in different processes, right? So let's use stress, for example. When we get under stress, we see a decrease in the frontal parietal complex. So the frontal cortex and the parietal cortex really start to see an overtaxing, and they shut down a little bit. When that happens, that underlying thing is allowed to just kind of escape. That's why we have that excess emotionality, and we might be, irrational and different things like that. That underlying function is escaping from that. And that's ultimately, where we might go on that. In those cases, we might stimulate the frontal parietal cortex and work to build up the faculties in that to decrease the reactivity, to decrease the amount of effect that stress has on your body. And when we do that, you're able to calm yourself down. You're able to take a deep breath, think about it, and make a more informed decision before you go forward. So, like I said, this is a lot more complex than what we can really get into on something like this. But I want you to look at what you're doing. Are you just doing crosswords? Are you just doing Sudoku? Add some variety. Exercise is a phenomenal thing for your brain. Getting out and moving around adds blood flow. It helps flush some of the junk out. It gives you increased capacity, right? You build up your energetic capacity. Those are all great things for brain function. Making sure you're getting plenty of sleep. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's active, right? Your memory works so much better. You have so much better stress handling when you actually get sleep. So sleeping is a great one. Staying hydrated. There are a lot of different ways that we can take this. But I want you to examine what you're doing, because ultimately, like I said, we've been lied to in some way, shape, and form. The crosswords aren't enough. The Sudoku isn't enough. We can do more. There are a lot of other ways that you can stimulate this. And really, if you're going to have the best outcome, there are a lot of ways we need to stimulate that to get you that best outcome. So I hope that this is helpful. If it is, like, subscribe. It really gives me good information as to what you guys need at the time and what I can provide you to help you take that next step forward. So as always, I love you. I appreciate you. I know that your time is one of the most important things in your life, and I appreciate you spending some of it with me. So I'll catch you on the next video.